Hi, welcome to Carwood. I'm going to show you how to remove and refit a turbocharger on a Ford Fiesta Zetec EcoBoost. To start, put on the correct PPE and let the engine cool fully. Before we do anything else, I'm going to plug in a diagnostic tool and check for any fault codes. Over 95% of turbo failures are caused by issues other than the turbo, so it's important to determine why it failed and address it before a new one is fitted. If not, the replacement turbo could fail too. We'll touch on troubleshooting later, but a quick diagnostic check is always a good starting point. Now disconnect the negative battery terminal. You'll also need to drain the engine oil. And we've fitted a brand new sump plug. Next, remove the oil filter and discard. Given oil contamination is one of the primary causes of the turbo failure, we'd always recommend fitting a new one. Same with the air filter. Not all turbos are, but the one on this vehicle is water-cooled, so we'll need to drain the coolant as well. So we're going to do that by removing the bottom radiator hose. Now you can remove the old turbo. Start on the air intake side. Disconnect the air intake pipe and cap straight away to prevent any dirt or debris entering. Remove the intercooler hose and intake cover. Again, remember to cap. Then on the exhaust side, disconnect the downpipe and the exhaust manifold bolts or V-band. Next, remove the oil feed line and discard, and the oil return line. So a blocked oil return pipe can actually affect turbo performance, can damage the turbo, can damage the engine, so it's good practice to replace this at the same time as replacing the turbo, along with the oil feed pipe as well. Again, remember to plug the lines to keep the dirt out. If fitted, you'll also need to disconnect the coolant lines. We need to do that here, so just be aware that some coolant might leak. Right, so remove the heat shield. Then remove the mounting bolt securing the turbo in place. Before removing the last bolt, ensure the turbo is properly supported. Carefully lift out the turbo, always handled by the main housing, never just the actuator or pipes. Just before we go away now and take the turbo away, we're just going to cap off all these lines, make sure no dirt or debris goes inside. Before refitting the new turbo, inspect the old unit, feed lines and other components for signs of damage or contamination. Once you've removed it, check the turbo is all intact and that there's nothing missing from the wheels. Whilst you're there, make sure the shaft nut is still there, because if it's not, potentially it could be stuck in the air intake somewhere and we need to find it. Other things to look out for is oil starvation, contamination and any other foreign impact damage. I've got a few other old units so I can show you and compare. This turbo is showing signs of oil contamination. You can see it has excessive play and end float on the shaft. On this one, the shaft has snapped, which suggests oil starvation. So on this one, you can see that a foreign object has gone in and damaged the compressor wheel really bad. Like I said before, a turbo rarely fails on its own, so it's important to address underlying issues before fitting the new unit. And if you don't, the turbo could fail from the exact same problem. For more on the common causes of turbo failure and how to fix, check out our troubleshooting guides at carwood.com/installer-hub. So whenever doing a job like this, we always recommend to replace the oil filter and air filter for OE quality. Also fit new oil feed and return pipes. Most turbo-related failures originate in either the engine or one of its supporting systems, so a thorough check will help pinpoint any issues. Check the air inlet ducting and air induction pipes for any debris, wear or damage. Also ensure the exhaust manifold and pipework, EGR and associated pipes are clear, clean and in good condition. We're all good here, but if needed, clean thoroughly and replace with new. Last but not least, cleaning all mating surfaces. Once you've done this, you're now ready to install the replacement turbo. We're fitting Carwood remanufactured unit part number TUR 100-101-0001. So before fitting the turbo, get the correct spec oil and inject it into the return outlet hole. So to prime the turbo, just rotate the shaft and rock it side to side. Fit the new gaskets and O-rings supplied with the turbo. So first of all, we're going to fit the heat shield that's got the integrated gasket. Okay, so now we're going to fit the oil return pipe. It's a brand new one. Position the turbo onto the manifold, making sure the new oil feed and return pipes are correctly routed. That's the gasket for there, and reconnect the intercooler hose. Hand tighten the nuts and bolts to the exhaust manifold and exhaust gas outlet. Then talk to the VM's recommended settings. Consult the service manual for the exact spec for the vehicle you're working on. Now fill the oil inlet hole with the correct oil and rotate the compressor wheel again for at least 10 revolutions. Reconnect the new oil return line to the turbo. Ensure it is correctly seated and aligned. Be careful never to bend or use excessive force. Always use the new washers and screws provided, and where necessary, the intermediate supports or fasteners. Then the same with the feed line. Torque, tighten both lines at both ends to VM guidelines. Reconnect the coolant lines, the exhaust downpipe, and the intake and intercooler pipes. Then we'll pop the air box back in. We are going to replace the air filter as well, so. Then refit the heat shields and cover. Refill the sump to the correct level with the recommended grade of oil. Once we've ran it up and we've checked it for leaks, we'll check that level. Top up the coolant to the correct level. We're going to pop in some manufacturer's spec ready mixed coolant. We'll let that settle down a little bit and then we'll check the level once it's been up and running and got to temperature and the fans have all come in. We'll double check that and top that up. Before starting the vehicle, crank the engine continuously with the fuel shut off for 10 seconds to allow oil pressure to build. Then start the engine and allow it to run at idle for 3 to 4 minutes before accelerating. Check for any air, oil or exhaust gas leaks. Whistling, buzzing, ticking or vibration signals a problem. Quickly reconnect a diagnostic tool to check and clear any fault codes. Finally, take the vehicle on a short test drive. Do so gently for the first 10 to 20 minutes so that the oil can reach optimum temperature. And that's job done. Thanks for watching and check out carwood.com/installer-hub for more how-to videos.